Welcome to ROI Biztalk. I'm your moderator, Paul Siegel. And as always, we're here with our host, industry expert, fractional COO, branding advisor, Jonathan Lack. Jonathan, I'm expecting another informative and thought-provoking conversation today. Let us know what today's topic for discussion will be and who you'll be introducing us to.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Today's topic is about being a trusted advisor in real estate versus a transactional agent. And what does the difference mean? What does that difference mean in the context of being high touch and full service at all price points? And our guest today is Carey Hagglund Condy, who is not only my life partner but also I got into real estate because of Carey. Carey is now running the number one Compass Marin team in Marin County, which is just north of San Francisco. And Carey's been in real estate for over 23 years, dealing in the luxury space. And I started working with Carey about 8 years ago through a mutual coach of hers, Steve Schul. And Steve suggested I started helping Carey on her strategic planning. I knew nothing about real estate at the time. And I've learned a whole lot from Carey, and she's a pro at being a trusted advisor. I now work with lots of agents and teams around the country after 8 years, and nobody can define what it means to be a trusted advisor with high touch, full service than Carey. So invited her today to talk about that. What does that mean to her? How important that is to her, and what other agents can possibly learn from it, from here and from the best. So, hi, Carey.
Nice to see you again. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Paul. Nice to be
Carey.
Here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. This I can't wait to learn more. Let's see. Truth be told, Carey and I have actually also worked together for many years, although not nearly as closely as Jonathan and Carey, because I've helped Carey with marketing and website work over the years, and have been in touch with her amazing crew. More than she. So Carey, it's actually really a pleasure to finally, I don't think we've ever had like a sit down conversation like this in all these years. So it's nice to be here with you.
It's long overdue, Paul.
Yeah.
And I should just take a moment to thank you for everything you've done to make sure that our website and marketing are on point. We get lots and lots of positive feedback on our website. So thank you.
Well, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome.
Well, let's start with before I came into real estate, I had worked in wealth management for about 10 years. And a term that is used not only in wealth management, but in other professional services is trusted advisor. And Carey took to that term very quickly because she was already acting on that term. She just didn't use that nomenclature. And it fits like a glove with her, but it doesn't fit with all other agents, because I've tried to get other agents to use that term. And I think it's part of, in Carey's case, part of her DNA. And I wanted to ask her to explain it in her own words. What does it mean for her to be a trusted advisor to her clients and in a service business that happens to be luxury real estate?
Well, it's funny. Thinking about this podcast today, it made me think about sort of how I view my role and our team's role. I never really, it's sort of just, honestly, I never really gave it that much thought. It's just sort of, as Jonathan said, who I am and sort of how I work. I should start by saying, I look at real estate as a relationships business, which I think at its core, I don't care how much technology there is and AI, at its core, real estate is and will always be a relationships business. The technology helps streamline get rid of cogs in the wheel, etc. But it is very much analogous to what Jonathan said as with when he worked in wealth management. I look at its relationships. I look at my role as being very similar to a wealth manager. Homes are an asset, and it's an asset class that people have in their portfolios. I work in the luxury space, but even if I didn't, it would be the same.
You mean if you didn't work in the price point you did, even
Correct.
if you worked in real estate, but at a different price point,
Correct.
you
It
would
would be
still
the
want to be a
same.
trusted advisor.
Exactly. Mark McLaughlin, who's someone that's very important to me, who, when I was starting in my career, he owned Morgan Lane, Pacific Union, then Compass in California. He said to me and to many, many others, trust is the currency of real estate. And that really sums it up. I might say trust and integrity, but they are the currencies of real estate. And so doing the right thing always, because it's not only your fiduciary duty, but it's the right thing to do. And so I just think it's very synergistic. Relationships, integrity, trust. We live in a small community. We are in Marin County, which is a very small but very affluent community in California, right across, as Jonathan said, the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. So it's just it comes to me naturally. That's just how I feel most comfortable. We're not a lead gen team. It's all based on referrals. I should say a high percentage of our business is referral based.
How do you also talk about being high touch as a trusted advisor? What does high touch mean to you?
High touch means we are with clients every step of the way before, beginning, and after a transaction. Our clients are our clients for life. We don't go away after a sale happens. We are, for example, it's a deal right now that we're the listing team. I was just meeting the buyer who just submitted a preemptive offer. I always go to those. The buyer wanted to come to the house. I go because I want to see the buyer. I want to see how they are. I want to see if they're excited about the house. If I see any red flags by their sort of nonverbal or verbal communication. And then I'm calling the seller after to give them an update. Like, I just met with these people. I see they are very excited. I feel very confident that this deal is going to happen. We don't use lock boxes. I pick up the phone and call my clients. I'm not sending texts and emails when convenient. High touch, full service to me is something similar that you would experience if you stayed at a Four Seasons hotel. It's very subtle, but it's very impactful. They know your name. They know your patterns. They're not in your face, but they're always sort of there to be helpful. And you have this indescribably wonderful experience.
How do you do that? That's Four Seasons, but how does Carey Hagglund Condy and team give, if you can, specific examples in your business,
Sure.
what full service means? Not every agent offers full service. They may claim to do it, but that doesn't mean they're doing it. And what is high touch, full service? You kind of alluded to what high touch means, but what does full service mean in the context of high touch?
Okay, so let me give you an example, Jonathan, I'm going to say take a listing, because we do a lot when we list a house. So when we list a house, we have a full-time designated listing manager who is working on point with me for that client on that listing the entire period. It's everything from setting up, having very meticulous schedules of what's going to happen and when. Managing that entire process from A to Z, from interviewing stagers, from conducting inspections. Here we do the inspections as the listing team, the seller does. We are reviewing all disclosures. We're reviewing all inspection reports. I sit down with every client seller and I have them do their seller disclosures with me in the office. We have a lunch for them, but I'm spending at least 3 hours with them, making sure that they know how to answer their disclosures. Sometimes, I do this all day. Sometimes people answer things incorrectly or give incomplete answers. We use very high-end photography and videography. We have beautiful social media. We show our listings by appointment. We don't use lockboxes. Everyone knows what our listings look like. We have beautifully curated collateral. We have branded doormats. The houses are meticulous. They're cleaned every week. We have incredible beverages in the refrigerator, coconut water, Spindrips, all these healthy, really elevated beverages. We have the houses are cleaned every single week. The landscaper comes every single week. When offers come in, clients get spreadsheets of the terms of the offers. I'm on the phone with them. I'm showing the property personally. It's everything at the close. All the way to the close of escrow. We send orchids to our clients. We make big donations to charities in the names of our clients after the close. And then we stay in touch. We send gifts to the clients every year. We're in touch with the clients multiple times a year, ideally. So that's what I mean by high touch, full service. And we're available to them. The team is, for any questions. If it's deal time and someone needs to talk to me at 9:00 at night, I'm available.
And you mentioned that this is important regardless of what happens in the future with AI. Do all clients appreciate this, or are there types that some clients appreciate the high touch full service and other clients are more hands off and want a discount and it's not the right fit for you? How does that work?
Well, you always say, someone may be a vanilla person, someone may be a strawberry person. For us, our fee is 3% when we list homes. So I'm very clear at the get-go that to work with our team, this is our expectation as a team. This is what we do. And because of that, because of our team reputation, our market share, my experience, and our team results, we charge a 3% fee. If someone's looking for a discount agent, that's fine, but that's not our client. And I'm very clear with them. As I always say, some people, and there, again, as Jonathan says, no value judgment, but we have a certain standard and a certain way we do things, like Four Seasons, a Ritz-Carlton, an Almond Resort. Some people just want to stay at the Holiday Inn, and that's totally fine, but that's not our team.
You mentioned integrity before, and I'm curious if you can just kind of, for our audience, kind of lay the land of what you've seen that maybe falls short of a agency that has integrity. What you offer in that regard.
Well, I'm not going to get into names or specifics, but I would say in any industry, there are probably the people that probably push it a little bit and bend the rules a little bit, and the people that don't. Mm-hmm. For my interpretation of integrity is doing the right thing always, even if it is not in your best interest, which is actually your fiduciary duty as well.
Just clarify, what you're saying is integrity is doing what's in the best interest of the client, not just what's not in your best interest, but what's in the best interest for your client.
Well, that's my fiduciary duty. Integrity is that, and it's just doing the right thing always. whether it's client related or not. And I would say, Paul, it's as important with our clients as it is with the other agents that we work with in the community. We are a team that's known as, we play fair, we play well with others. Consequently, we get intel about listings really early and so we can help our clients get into houses early. And it matters. People want to do deals with us because we have integrity. This year alone, we did the stats, 60% of our buyer sales have been off market. So in the luxury space and even non-luxury, but especially luxury, so much is happening off market. It never hits Zillow. It never hits the MLS. If we didn't have great relationships with other agents, that wouldn't be happening.
I think it's also important to point out, I know there are going to be a lot of agents listening to this who are not in the luxury space to say, well,
Sure.
she can afford to be a trusted advisor. She can afford to be a high touch, full service firm. I can't afford to do that. And my argument to those who think that way is they can't afford not to do it. And there's an appropriate, your tagline is high touch, full service, all price points. So there's an appropriate high touch, full service for $1 million home. And maybe there's an appropriate high touch, full service for a $10 million home or a $20 million home. Can you talk about what changes or doesn't change for you and your colleagues on your team?
Sure.
That when you sell $1 million or $1.5 million home, what are you still doing as a trusted advisor? What are you still doing as a high touch, full service? So that people think that it's not just for 5 million and higher.
Well, it's a great question, Jonathan. And not every house we sell is $15 million and $10 million. We just put one into contract yesterday that was 1995. It went way over, but so the process is the same. We are sitting down and meeting with those clients to go over disclosures. Every part of the contract piece, disclosures, inspections is identical to a $20 million house. The difference might be someone selling a house for $1.5 million or $2 million is not going to be spending $60,000 on the staging. So what we do is get an appropriate but beautifully curated stager that feels like a great fit for a house at that price point. But we are still managing the process. We are still sending schedules of what's happening when. Even for houses at $1.5 million, $2 million, we are showing them by appointment. We have all of our collateral. We have playlists. We have all the beverages in the refrigerator. It's still going to feel like the $20 million house does, but it's not going to, this client's not going to spend the same amount of money on the staging. The photography and videography might not be, the $10,000 a pop, but it might be a bit off of that, but it's still going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I want to circle back to something Jonathan said back on this idea of integrity and trust. The trust of your clients is born from your integrity as a business person. So if you could just explore that a little bit, because I think what Jonathan was saying, it's in even an agent that might be dealing in, lower price points to work with ultimate integrity, because at the end of the day, that brings in your future clientele.
It's everything. It's the currency of real estate. The price point really is irrelevant. It is, if real estate at any price point at its core is a relationships business, that is exactly right, Paul. That is how people feel that they want to refer you, when they trust you, when they know you've got their back at all times, when you are with them in the trenches, and when you are really coming from a place as an advisor they absolutely refer you to their friends, their family, to everybody at all price points. And some of the people we work with, my clients may be buying 10, $15 million homes, but maybe their kids are buying 1 million, 2 million, $5 million homes. It's all the same.
Have you seen anything over, say, the last 10 years or so? Because, society, culture is certainly going through, some challenges, changes. Has any of that been reflected in what you're seeing in the marketplace of who you're working with, or ideas or expectations?
I think humans are humans. I mean, I would say real estate's going faster now. I mean, the pace is a lot faster. The stakes feel higher, not in terms of scarcity and price. In terms of how people feel about it, that's the same. And I think that I appeal to a certain type of client, and maybe someone that's a little slicker, if that's what you're inferring. That's just not usually my client. So I don't think mine has, in terms of who reaches out to me and who I resonate with. I mean, I'll be candid. I won't take on everybody. If I don't think it's a fit or I see a red flag, I won't work with them.
How do you decipher when you say that? How do you educate your client so that they understand what a trusted advisor means? A high touch, full service. You have to educate clients to manage expectations. Uh, Many clients haven't sold their home in 10 years, so they're not doing real estate every day. And they interview several agents. In many cases, they don't know what they're really supposed to be looking for and asking. So, what would you say to potential clients to educate them on the value of a trusted advisor that's high touch, full service, so that they can distinguish better between a good agent that fits their needs versus, a transactional discount type agent?
Sure. I usually set up a Zoom call. Like I have one this afternoon. Somebody reached out. I always make sure we have a Zoom call. I'll go meet them in person. I usually do an introductory Zoom first just to make sure that we're aligned. Sit down, have a meeting with them if appropriate. I definitely talk to them about what's important to them there and want to hear their expectations, etc. And then I tell them how we work. And that sort of what our process is and what's important if I think, how I need to be aligned with a client in terms of goals and process. And I sort of weave the integrity and trust into the conversation so they're well aware that that's a standard for me and our entire team. I talk to them about the buyer broker contract that is a legal requirement now. And if I feel like I'm getting any pushback, that's if it's a buyer. If it's a seller, same thing. If someone wants to cut corners or is like, hey, I have had people say, not often, but rare occasionally, hey, I'm talking to a few people, which is fine. Whoever finds the house for me first, or I'm talking to I want to work with multiple people. Well, that's an opportunity for me to educate them that that's not how we work. We work exclusively with people and why. And so it's sort of self-selecting.
As far as your referral business goes, what would you say are there any kind of trends with your referral business as to why you are getting these kinds of referrals? I know Jonathan would think about, what's your brand? What are your people's expectations of working with Carey Hagglund Condy, and what kind of feedback have you gotten back from folks who have referred you positively to others?
Great question. I mean, I take the referral part of our business very, very seriously because it's a big part of our business. I look at it, Paul, when we have lawyers referring people to me and wealth managers referring people to me and our team, that to me says we're doing it right because they have a similar fiduciary standard. And so the third tier of that, would be when current clients are referring people, when clients of mine are referring their children to me or referring their family members. And when I say of mine, I should say of our team. When they are referring family members, children, neighbors, that to me says we're doing it right. Another example is, we're brought in to do these real estate deals with our clients, and it's not always a happy time for the client. It could be a divorce. It could be, which in Marin County it often is. It could be something could happen during the deal, like something goes sideways. They're not always easy deals. But when you are holding that client's hand throughout the entire process, good, bad, and ugly, and you are there for them in the trenches, when you get out to the other side, even if it was a really tough deal, you often have a very devoted client after that.
What would you say are some common mistakes that other agents make of breaking that trusted advisory trust, over promising, being high touch, full service, and under delivering? What have you seen out there in your career where uh, people shouldn't over promise and under deliver, but under promise and over deliver? What can people what can other agents and team leaders learn from your perspective?
I'd say show up. When there's agents that are never at when we're showing houses. As I said, we have listings. We're always there. There are times when we're working with buyers and the listing agent is nowhere to be seen ever. Like they are absolutely. You would never know there was an agent on the other side. Being responsive in a really timely way. Real estate, because of its time sensitivity, is not an industry where you can just shut it down at 5 o'clock at night and say, I'll respond to you by 9 a.m. the next morning. When you're in deal mode, you're responding and people need to be able to reach you. I would say, again, there are some agents that will represent a buyer and a seller on the same transaction. We really stay away from that. The exception of maybe 5 times in my 25-year career. We often have buyers for our own list.
Why do you stay away from it? What's the issue there? Is that
my fiduciary duty? It's very difficult to be a true fiduciary when you're representing both sides. It's actually impossible.
it's
And
you're saying it's a conflict of interest?
it is a conflict of interest. And so part of my back to the integrity, I mean, I can't tell you how many deals and huge price points I have stepped away from the other side and referred it to a colleague just to maintain what I think is my fiduciary duty and my relationship with that client, both clients. And usually both clients are very respectful of that.
I would imagine the client themselves would push back on representing both sides of the transaction.
You'd be surprised, Paul. I think some clients just think agents do that all the time.
Oh,
There are a couple agents in our space here that do it as a practice. It's shocking, actually, shocking. But they do. And it's legal. It's legal in the state of California. I just choose not to because I want to keep these clients for life. And
yeah,
Great.
that is certainly part of the integrity question is you have and part of your brand. You want long-term relationships with your clients, and you're making choices around that end. Yeah.
Correct.
Paul, any other thoughts?
Well, I love the human side of all this. When you started speaking, Carey, about, the kind of different situations that clients are in, um, and how the business is completely driven by relationships, um, there must be a certain element to your job, and your agent's jobs to have a skill set to be around people that are going through a divorce. It's not everyone's a caregiver, not everyone is sensitive, not everyone is, but it seems like in the world of real estate, you really need to have that skill set as part of what you're offering your clients. You never know who you're going to get, but you want their transaction to be successful. You want to treat them with their integrity, and sensitivity. And can you speak to that a little bit more, just about that human side of it?
I think that someone said once, you need to be able to meet people where they are. And as I said, it's not always a good place. I look at this profession of real estate as being brought into people's lives at not always great times, as being such an honored thing that people entrust you with their personal life and expose you to what's really happening. And it can be, it can be like being in a therapy session, a
I'd
couple's
imagine.
therapy session. But again, back to the trust and that being the currency, when people feel safe and they trust you and you allow them to kind of go through what they're going through. However, let's use divorce as the example because we were talking about it. They know you have standards and guidelines, and I tell people that are in that space, I'm Switzerland. Whatever I think personally, my role here is to be Switzerland, to be your fiduciary, and to get you to the other side. And that is how I'm going to be throughout this entire transaction. And I think that people are, feel relieved that they can be with somebody and not always be at their best, but know that I'm going to do everything in my power to get this asset closed for them, transacted for them at the top possible price in the most professional way.
And you do that for estates as well, where you have siblings that have different
Definitely.
interests.
I do that for a lot of estate attorneys, trust attorneys, family law attorneys, lots of adult children selling family homes. And there's a lot of dynamics. We're all siblings. I don't know if you have siblings, Paul, but Jonathan and I have many. And it's a delicate dance when our adult siblings are together to sell a family asset like a home. And there's a lot of dynamics that are often going at once. And so it's just adds another layer to that. But I think having a high EQ serves you well in this business.
Yeah. Well
Or
said.
you have to be a trusted advisor in those situations because
Oh, for
you're
sure.
balancing out family members, as well as in divorce cases that do have different interests.
Oh, yeah.
And you're trying to find the common interest, which is to get that house sold as quickly as possible for as much as possible. That's in everybody's interest.
In a very transparent way. I think, again, it may be a very dynamic situation, but when they know that you got it, you've got them, and you're doing it in a very professional, methodical way, and you are not open to any of the family back and forth. But again, our Switzerland during this process, they all are, they're like, okay.
Yeah, and the estates, on the estate side too, which I do have some experience with. This idea that, I mean, there could be parties involved who don't want to sell at all. And that can create, I imagine, all kinds of tension and conflict within whether it's a divorced couple or siblings. Yeah.
Somebody who needs the money needed it yesterday. They're not trying to time the market.
Right.
Somebody who doesn't need the money is looking at that as an investment.
Maximize it. Yeah.
With the luxury of deciding for themselves when is the best time to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I needed the money yesterday was the best time to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Today's the second best day to sell it, and let's get it sold. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I would add to that, there are often when an elderly parent is still living, that sort of process is sort of very gently walking as an elderly, person through this process, because it's done very differently now than it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago when they purchased their homes. It's often bringing in one of their adult children to be sort of an advocate for them and working closely with them. Sort of, you kind of go as fast or slow as that person feels comfortable, that client, and just making sure that they feel respected, they feel heard, but that we're doing this in a way that they can really maximize their profits and sort of do it in a way that you need to do it today.
Yeah, anecdotally, my mom, she spent the last few years of her life in an assisted living, but leaving the family house that had been our family house for 60, let's see,
Wow.
20, I'm almost 60 years, and the things in the basement to go through, and the help that she needed from my sisters and us to weed through it all and understand what she could toss, what she couldn't. This had to have been near the end of her life one of the most emotional experiences of her life. So yeah, I'm sure that you see that quite often, where people are making a big transition because of their age and having to handle, I mean, it's just another part of the divorce, the estate, after the person's passed, or the elderly person leaving their family home.
Yeah, they're life cycles.
Yeah.
Right. I can tell you, Paul, for someone like Carey, who's a real professional, there's no better reward than when the transaction is completed and somebody's after the deal where they can just go about their business, sends the notes, writes a thank you card, email of how appreciative they were for her helping them and their family members get through, a bumpy period.
Yeah.
The one thing that I've learned about real estate in the last 8 years is that whether you are a billionaire and this is your 5th or 6th or 7th home, or a first-time home buyer, the process is stressful. It doesn't matter what the price point is. It doesn't matter what your experience is. And so where Carey comes in as a trusted advisor and her team to make it a seamless experience, that is a memorable experience. Now, it's a memorable good experience or great experience versus other clients have memorable experiences with their agents. It's just a bad memorable experience versus a great one. And a great one is the reason why Carey has such a high level of repeat and referral, because she takes that part of the business very seriously, because she's a professional. That's what professional, trusted advisors do.
Yeah, yeah. The emotional landscape of one's home is really, I mean, it's different than selling a car, or a new car, or even a used car. You're just, I'll take this one. That's not what selling and buying homes are about. It's completely intertwined with one's self and psyche.
It's the bedrock. It's everything.
Well, this is great, Carey. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you for inviting me. And
Thank you.
It was very enjoyable to talk to both of you.
Great. Thank you, Carey. It was enjoyable to talk to you as well. Thanks for joining us on ROI Biztalk.
Yeah. I'll see you in the
Have
neighborhood.
a great
maybe.
day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.